the main thing is that they all needed to be individualized, even though they're all masked.
Yeah.
So in order to make them seem different,
you can't just buy 6 versions of the same
they
mask.
couldn't all just be wearing like a Freddy Krueger mask. It wouldn't have worked. Well, I'm thinking Michael Myers, but I said Freddy Krueger and I feel terrible.
You should.
But it's okay.
You should feel bad about yourself.
I feel like I lost a nerd cred point there, because Freddy Krueger doesn't really wear a mask. Jason and Michael Myers were the obvious choices, and I went with Freddy Krueger. I mean, what is going on with me?
You stumbled. Man. You stumbled out of the blocks there.
I'm going to come back from that. Yeah. Come back strong.
All right, everybody, welcome to Nerds of a Certain Vintage. As always, I am Patrick.
And I'm Andy.
And we are nerds who are here for Lovebruary, man.
That's right.
Welcome to Lovebruary.
Lovebruary is nice. Romance Brewery. Lovebruary is better.
I think Lovebruary.
I agree with you.
Yeah, that's better than Fuck You Brewery.
Fucked up February.
Fuck Brewery.
Well, that's the other side of it. Pat's done with his dry January, so it's fucked up February for him.
Fired up.
That's right. Fired up. I'm sorry. I meant to say fired up, not fucked up.
This is 8% alcohol by volume, double adjunct stout. I've had this before. The Let's Give Thanks from Ass Clown Brewing. So we're going to start with that.
The Ass. The Ass Clown Brewing.
Yeah, what are you drinking over there, Andy?
I'm having this new thing.
Oh, what?
It's a Left Hand Brewing Nitro Milk Stout.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Never heard of it before, but it sounds like it's really good. So, And you know me, I like to try a new thing.
I know.
I'm adventurous that way.
Yeah, you know. That's what I think.
Far be it for me to be drinking the same thing over and over and over again. So, this is our first weekend of the month, and that means Bonkers BananaPants movie night.
Bonkers BananaPants for February.
Yeah.
Lovebruary.
And since we have deemed February to be Lovebruary, we're doing rom-coms.
Rom-coms.
Gotta have a little bit of rom.
Yeah.
Gotta have a little bit of com.
Is this the first February we're actually doing rom-coms?
Yes. We talked about it. Always.
Why did it take us so long?
Always after the fact.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those things.
That's because we didn't get our shit together until like the middle of last year.
Well, I thought shit was going to go down, but it didn't go down.
So we watched Shotgun Wedding.
Yeah.
As our Bonkers BananaPants movie.
Yeah. Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel. And the great Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes.
And Cheech Marin. Yep. He was a bit more of a straight man in this than...
Yeah. Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz playing... this is a spoiler. Don't listen to this if you haven't seen the movie and you want to, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it. Lenny Kravitz.
Playing the bad guy.
The villain, baby. Yeah.
Well, Darcy Carden was I think she was the brains behind that.
Clearly, that was the representation towards the end. But we called it.
Absolutely. We were right. I mean, there were not a lot of surprises to be had in this movie.
No. Well, once again, most rom-coms tend to be a little formulaic, but we don't watch them because we're concerned about surprises. We like the formula. We watch it because we like the formula.
And
this one had some changes in the formula.
Yeah, because they were together.
Yeah, this one, the third act breakup happened at the beginning.
Yes,
in the first act,
and it was even while that was happening. I was like, this seems like the kind of argument that would have happened later in the movie in a normal movie.
A normal rom-com. You're absolutely right. But 60-second summary.
Okay. Should I turn?
It's Die Hard. It's Die Hard if John McClane went to a destination wedding.
I guess that is true.
That's all it is, really. Yeah. But it's really about the couple, and it's sort of Die Hard derivative. We'll get to what was it the first time you saw it, and it definitely has some Die Hard elements to it.
It definitely does. I mean, to the point where she's barefoot.
I noticed that too. I was like, is that a Die Hard reference? Well, she didn't run over glass, but she ran over rocks and sandy,
and he got his hand all fucked up.
That's true. That's true. That's a Die Hard thing too. Yeah. I didn't immediately think of that as a reference, but it could have been. Well, I just thought that was for the blood joke.
Yeah.
Which worked very well.
Yeah. I mean, I have something to say about that for what's the most unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind if we jump right to that. What was the most unbelievable part for you?
Them deciding to use the meat slicer to cut off
in a kitchen, in a kitchen which is likely to be full of knives.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I know that.
Like a cleaver, you could just do whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that was
no reason.
Entirely contrived, but it it worked pretty well as far as the gag that they were trying to go for.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that you can do that without cutting yourself. I mean, it's not that hard to cut a plastic tie. You just have to stay away from it.
Yeah.
It was just my most unbelievable thing was J-Lo in panties and a t-shirt,
and he doesn't want.
And he wants to talk. And he wants to talk about her ex. I mean, come on, man, give me a break with that.
Jennifer Coolidge, she doesn't have any pants on.
She was so great in this.
Yeah, that's like you have to have that conversation.
Did you see that I faked the put down?
Yeah,
I almost faked it. I went to put it down. I was like, wait a second.
You faked the fake out.
What am I doing? It was a double fake.
Yeah, I could buy that as a pretty unbelievable part too. Like, is that genetics or Pilates?
Well, the other thing that there were plenty of sort of contrived moments. Like you had said, when she had the hand grenade, they were right next to a cliff.
Yeah, you could have just.
And there might be some explanation in that she didn't know that the pin was out, so she didn't have any reason to throw it, and he didn't know that she had it, and they had already run away from the cliff before he realized she still had the hand grenade in her hand. And just a lucky thing that...
And it was in her left hand, right?
Right hand.
Was it in her right hand?
It was in her right hand, yes.
So, like, I find it hard to believe that, like, I don't care how... clearly you have to set it up for the story that you're afraid that she can't throw this, but you got to throw it like 15 feet for it to be like. And you get behind something.
Yes, you have to find a barrier. You have to find a barrier to get behind.
If you're on one side of a rock, you can kind of just tip it over the other side, and you'll be okay.
Right. Well, and depending on how contrived the movies are, that might blow the rock over on top of you. Just roll it right on you. I can see that.
So, but do we want to start out by just, like, I will tell you, I had a ton of fun watching this. Like, most rom-coms, I can usually find something to get into. Like, something will...
I love a rom-com. You even, actually, before we started, Pat showed me one that he watched this morning, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Not really a rom-com, but
well, you watched it, so you would know better. But it had our very favorite Dash and Lily in it. And there was certainly some romance going on for her.
There was definitely some romance, but that was not central. That was not
the story. That was not the central character thing. So, but it added a little bit. It gave it a rom-com quality, I would imagine. So I'm down to watch that.
Yeah, and it's one of those. I think the appeal of a rom-com for me is that...
This is an Andy's tangent. I started this, right? You didn't start this?
Didn't start...
Talking about this movie that's not the movie that we saw.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, this ties into, like... Because that, ideally... And this was... the movie we're talking about that I did watch that is outside of this was called Afterlife at the Party. And... while it doesn't deal like with the similar tropes, it's not a rom-com by the definition of a rom-com.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of romance for the main participant.
Because she did.
She did. She got a
Yeah.
But I think the overarching thing I like about rom-coms...
she died in a really... And I've only seen the trailer. I haven't seen the movie. They showed how she died, and it was ridiculous.
Yes.
So, you know.
But yeah, the thing I like about rom-coms in general, and that movie had this as well, was the sense that whatever like weird and awkwardness is going to happen during the movie, everything's going to end up okay.
Yeah.
Like there's no ambiguity at the end. You're not going to like walk away thinking, well, that was sad as shit.
Exactly.
I mean? You're going to be like, yeah, I might get a little bit of teary. I might get a little bit of...
Are you saying that's like that's sort of one of the rom-com qualities?
Yeah. You know, you get that third act, the second act twist into the third act where there's got to be the fight. Dash and Lily did this. Every rom-com does this.
They almost kiss, but the door opens or the phone goes off and it stops them.
Yeah, and so you get a little bit of awkwardness, but you know at the end of the rom-com, they're going to come together, and it's going to be okay.
They're still both attractive and both pretty nice people. You're rooting for them. They wouldn't do that to us.
They wouldn't do that
to
us.
Us. And it does
sound like something they might do.
And by they wouldn't do that to us, they would totally do that to us.
They might.
Yeah. You can't trust them.
Yeah, I mean, but there was no doubt in this particular movie, in Shotgun Wedding, that they were going to end up together. Like, no rom-com worth its salt is going to be like, and they got divorced.
Well, that was kind of the thing. Is like the first fight was absolutely reasonable.
Yeah,
and it was a fight over things that people do break up over.
Exactly.
But then there were those scenes where they're running from. So and I cheesed the 60-second summary, but essentially, it's a destination wedding on an island in the Philippines. Pirates show up and take all of the wedding party hostage, except for the bride and groom, because they are having a fight.
Right.
And they have left the main area of the wedding. So the pirates don't know where they are. And when they realize that pirates have shown up, then they're kind of on the run trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And so they had that. And so that's the...
Yeah.
And once again, Die Hard at a destination wedding.
Yeah.
So you can fill in the rest. But that fight they had originally, like I said, that is something that people might break up over. It seemed like kind of a thing that they could get past.
Yeah.
But you never know how egos will get in the way. But after the pirates appear, and then there's the various things that happen, when they're in the kitchen attempting to cut their bonds with a lunch meat slicer of all things, where there must be other knives around, as you say. When he seems to have left
Scissors. There would be a pair of scissors.
probably chicken shears of some sort. Yeah. Those are pretty heavy duty plastic things, but
true. But that was an industrial kitchen.
yes.
That was
Well,
not
yeah,
like
yeah. And they'd
Mom and
already
Pop's kitchen.
and they well, we'll talk about Chekhov's cake knives.
Oh, there was Chekhov all over
Chekhov's
the place
everything, but when he comes back and
This
attacks,
is Chekhov the movie.
yeah, exactly. We'll have to explain that. Your wife was watching with us, and she was like, "Chekhov, what does that mean? Chekhov something?"
Yeah.
And
What's Star Trek got to do with this?
Well, exactly. The nuclear vessels.
Where do you keep your vessels?
Your nuclear. We're looking for the nuclear vessels. Well, when he comes back for her and she thought, I thought you left me. And he's like, never. I'm like, that seals the deal, man.
Yeah, of course.
They had a couple of other fights that seemed like breakup fights. And I was just like, oh, come on, man. He
already says in the jungle, he's like, you're the only thing on my vision board. That seals the deal.
I know. He was sealing that deal all over the place. You know where he wasn't sealing the deal? When she was in her underwear and t-shirt. He didn't seal that deal at all.
Yeah.
Stupid bastard.
See,
I'm still upset about that.
Rightly so.
Yeah, she's still in. Once again,
she had the short shorts on, and she showed she pulled it up, and she was like, "Let's have sex," and he's like, "Just let me handle the hot glue on these."
I gotta get these
centerpieces,
and
I had to redo the seating chart because your dumbass ex-fiance showed up.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, that never happened, man.
No, man. At that point, the wedding goes out the window. Every thought of everything except J-Lo on the bed goes out your mind. It goes out your mind.
That does seem like something he should do.
It definitely does. Dumbass. Although, the whole thing, I thought it was really funny where she's like, she takes her shorts off and she's got the panties on underneath and she throws them at him and then she's like, but there's something high on this shelf. And he's like, I don't understand why this does it for me, but it does it so much.
Why is the fact that you can't reach things so sexy?
There were a lot of those kind of very,
great lines. Yeah. And they delivered them well.
And you can see how it would make, they seem like a realistic couple.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, no, they're both very attractive. Now, when her sister slept with his best friend, I was like, "Come on, man!
I intimidate you.
You find me terrifying."
That was the best.
Yes, and I said, "I'm like, I totally get it, man." Yeah. Now, the fact that she's so into that is a little concerning, but that's
a relationship that's not lasting.
That was another unbelievable thing. I just don't see that guy being Josh Duhamel's best friend in any universe, really.
He could be especially
like a childhood friend.
Maybe. I mean, he's a minor league baseball player, so who else is he going to have as his best friend?
Another a jockey frat d-bag guy. The dude from Ghost would have been his best friend. If that was his best friend, I would have been like, yeah, I totally get it, man.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I mean, that other dude who was his best friend seemed like the goofy kid he hung around with in middle school. I mean, maybe they could have stayed friends, but I was just kind of like, it's not quite.
He was the like the water boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports team.
Exactly, that's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the bits with him when they were all held hostage in the pool, and he kept kind of floating up behind that girl that he had gotten, the
and
sister.
that was one of the weirdest scenes. Like he takes out watery like pocket candy and offers some to her.
She's like, I don't want you gross. And
so
he's like, okay, I'll eat it. I'm going to eat it on myself. Yeah. And then she's like, okay, I want that.
And he's like, oh, no.
That was pretty funny. And I was just like, why?
Offer rescinded.
Yeah. I was like, why would you even offer, like, why would she even want, like, water candy?
You're trying to impress this girl, and you're like, you've got her so that she's literally willing to eat out of the palm of your hand, and you're like, no.
Well, no. If you really think about it, it was a baller move, man.
It's a baller move, I guess.
Yeah. But, I mean, she's totally out of his league, though. She had a very Selma Blair quality.
She
actress.
did, yeah.
So.
Lord.
So many great...
there's a lot of human interaction stuff that's written into this movie that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I'll jump to it.
It's very predictable.
I'm going to jump to it because I think this is a pretty obvious choice, but who was the biggest scene stealer?
Well, it's Jennifer Coolidge.
It's Jennifer Coolidge, without question.
Her with the gun?
Yeah. Where's the bride's father? Robert, they're talking to you. They're asking for you again. Like, she just keeps, like, throwing him under the bus, and he's just like, thanks.
The biggest left field comments came from her when like
when they're like, you have the perfect
wedding and
perfect marriage, and
he's like, no, I had sex with your aunt, and she's like, and I went a little bit crazy for a couple of months and had
with the neighbor.
But after a while, it grew boring.
I slept with your Aunt Marion. That just so great, like all of that stuff. It's funny because it is got that Die Hard vibe, but I mean it was just played for laughs so much.
Yeah.
And when they first are captured and or they're almost captured, and he has all these plans, and she's just like, I'm going to use the hairspray, and he wants
exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, actually, that surprised me when he's like, "Well, turn it into a flamethrower." She's like, "Don't be ridiculous. Too many steps, right?" Yeah. But she still sprays it, and when she asks for the cigarette, and then she uses the lit cigarette to light their heads on fire, I was just like, "Oh, okay." And suddenly I was like, "Why did that light so much?" And you were just like, "Flamethrower," and I was like, "Oh, the hairspray."
See, but that actually
me.
Surprised me. It was them in the shower. Josh Duhamel on one side, J-Lo on the other side. Yeah. Josh has one plan, she has a different plan. The guy comes in the middle, and they both fuck it up. Like, he throws over his net, and he's like...
Well, you had said, because he came in with sunglasses on, and you're like, that would work if he didn't have sunglasses on. And once again, that's a contrived situation, because you were like, he's only wearing sunglasses because that keeps the hairspray from messing him up. But she douses Josh Duhamel. That's another unbelievable thing. He would not have recovered that quickly from a face full of hairspray, man.
Yeah.
That shit is worse than like cayenne pepper spray, man. It would be an hour before you were able to open your eyes again. Well, plus it's the hold. It's got that nice hold.
Josh Duhamel could have just put his hair up.
Yeah. Everybody Loves Mary or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, if you pick apart this movie, as with any rom-com, you can pick them apart and it'll be horrendous. Are you going for a second?
Not yet.
Lord.
But I will be.
It does sound like something.
It does sound like something I would do.
But does it?
But would I though? Nah.
Oh yes.
Maybe. It was me.
No. So yeah, I mean, I think that I'm trying to figure out.
And that guy was pissed because he got the shit burnt out of him. Like it's like he burned his face up and stuff.
I would have kind of liked to have heard a little bit of a backstory as to why they all crafted their own headdresses the way they did.
You kept commenting on that
a little bit.
Well,
like, there was a guy who had like the pop tops from the cans.
Yeah.
Another person who had bottles that were like sewn together.
Well, they were all from Bali. It's not like you can just go down to the pirate store and buy masks and shit.
You can do that kind of
Well,
stuff.
once again, there was a lot of what I call reverse writing in this, where you're looking for a specific thing to go on, and you reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I need this to happen, so I'm going to write backwards. How would that work? The main thing is that they all needed to be individualized, even though they're all masked.
Yeah.
So in order to make them seem
You can't
different,
just buy 6 versions of the same
they
mask.
couldn't all just be wearing like a Freddy Krueger mask. It wouldn't.
Right.
It wouldn't have worked. Well, I'm thinking Michael Myers, but
Yeah.
but I said Freddy Krueger and I feel terrible.
You should.
But it's okay.
You should feel bad
it's
about
okay.
yourself.
I feel like I lost a nerd cred point there. You know, because Freddy Krueger doesn't really wear a mask. You know,
Oh,
that was.
yeah.
I mean, Jason and Michael Myers were the obvious choices, and I went with Freddy Krueger. I mean, what is going on with me?
You stumbled.
Man.
You stumbled out of the blocks right
well,
there.
I'm going to come back from that.
Yeah.
Come back strong. So,
I think that this movie would not have worked if there hadn't been chemistry between J-Lo
and Josh Duhamel. Yes, yeah.
They actually seemed like they liked each other, and they seemed like they were having a good time.
Right.
And J-Lo, like, she knocked it out of the park for me in this movie.
Yeah, she was great.
She was willing to be a little bit goofy. She was willing to be a little bit... she was different than I would have expected. Like, I've seen other rom-coms with J-Lo
She
in
definitely has a diva reputation.
Yeah, like, she presents herself as having it much more put together than she presented in this movie.
Right.
No,
I agree. She was very likable in this. But I've seen her in some of her other work, and I know she is an excellent actress. So it didn't really surprise me terribly.
Yeah.
And I've seen Josh Duhamel in other comedies, and I know he has great timing.
Yeah.
And he's a very handsome man. So
He is a very
I
handsome
don't necessarily have any issue with.
You get that guy and Timothy Oliphant in the same room, and it's like
They should play
they're
brothers.
Like time travelers.
I know.
Like, if they touch, they just melt into goo.
Well, they occupy the same headspace. If they entered the same room, I wouldn't know which one was which.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know what's going on here.
It'd be Josh Oliphant, Timothy Duhamel.
In The Good Place, was it Timothy Oliphant that the judge was so into? Yeah.
Justified.
Yeah, Justified. Anyway, so I've seen him and stuff. I know he's great, and just I think because they are so attractive.
Yeah.
And that's not always a telling point. You frequently have two attractive people that just don't seem to have any chemistry together. But
but they also seem to be like they seem like people. They had foibles. They had and the as you say, the arguments that they were having
were
realistic. They were like the kinds of things that real human couples would argue about on their wedding day.
Especially ones that are just about to get married.
Yeah, that guy... Listen, if on my wedding day I got a text from my wife saying, I don't feel great about this, or whatever
Something's
it was.
Something's not right.
Something's not right.
Something's not right.
Holy shnikes.
Well, they'd already set
south.
that up. One of the other things we didn't even mention about this, and once again, spoilers, but
I'm going in for a Southern Tier Peanut Butter Cup Imperial Stout.
somebody likes the Southern Tier, man.
I do like the Southern Tier.
Peanut Butter Cup Stout, man. What's not to like? We're going to have to do a taste test between that and the left-handed brewing peanut butter stout.
Yes.
Peanut butter milk stout.
That would be a
taste test worth having. One of the other things that happen in this movie that creates tension is that J-Lo's character's father employs her ex-boyfriend. Her ex-fiancé. And he has invited the ex-fiancé.
Played by the super sexy...
incredibly sexy Lenny Kravitz. My wife is always like...
That dude's held together pretty well.
Well, he's always had his shirt down, unopened to his navel, and he just looks rock solid, baby.
He wasn't that said. He must have been in a hurry. He didn't have enough time to button up his shirt.
Josh Duhamel, yeah. And it was obviously said with some tension. He was like, he didn't have a chance to even button his shirt. My wife is like pretty much like Lenny Kravitz, and then Jason Momoa, and then Chris Hemstridge, not Hemsworth. So it's all right there, man.
I'm gonna pull up Lenny Kravitz and see how old Lenny is.
Lenny is like
58 years old.
I was going to say Lenny is our age. Lenny is right in there with us.
He's a little bit older
and
than us.
And he's certainly in better shape than me, man.
Right.
By a darn sight. So
I would have to do so many
crunches. It'd be crunches 24 hours a day, baby, for weeks and weeks.
I would have 0 peanut butter cup stouts, I'll tell you that.
I know, probably so. And that's not happening.
Yes.
I'm not giving up.
Yes.
Oh, I'm about to have my second beer, and I'm going to have this new thing.
Okay.
I don't know where I found this. I've never seen it before. Left Hand Brewing's Nitro Milk Stout.
Oh, all right.
I'll give that a try.
Yeah. Be careful, don't mix them.
That's
Whatever's
true.
in there.
That's true.
You might want to take that last
it might
sip.
dilute. Might dilute this beer that I'm about to have. I don't want to do that. Oh my god.
So dumb.
So.
At what point do we start retiring bits? Like
It has to happen naturally. When it stops being funny to us, it's probably long since stopped being funny to people who are watching. But
I tell you what, either it will happen naturally, or you can email us and tell us, please, retire that bit.
That's a good thing. Maybe we'll just keep doing stupid bits until you email us and tell us to stop.
Yeah.
That's the only way. It's like blackmail.
Right.
We're going to blackmail you.
Right. So what other questions do we have? We have other questions that we need to answer.
Well,
wire work?
No.
There was no wire work.
I rewrote it, but then I brought down the wrong pad. but one of the things I thought we would start doing is saying whether the movie was a nerd movie, whether it qualifies as a nerd movie.
Listen, there's a very particular kind of nerddom that goes for rom-coms.
But here's the thing.
This is not it doesn't meet any of your criteria.
It does, actually. Surprisingly, it hits several other than... Because I had one that was like, is there rom, is there com? But that's not a nerd movie. That's a different criteria. But I had...
I'm listening.
Does anybody have a superpower?
No.
Right?
Does it take place in outer space?
Does it take place in outer space? Are there monsters/aliens, extra points if giant?
No.
Okay. Are there more than 100 rounds fired?
Where did this come from?
This
is the first...
You're hearing of this.
I'm hearing of this.
Well, I never formalized the list. When I thought I would formalize the list,
okay.
I'm like, nerd movies. Die Hard is a nerd movie.
Okay.
You can't say that it's not. It has a place.
Okay.
It is a popcorn movie. It is
for
a certain type of viewing.
Yeah.
But I was like, most of your murder movies or your more dramatic movies, they might fire a gun a couple of times. But the movies that I love that are sort of nerdy, that are not that type, they fire all kinds of rounds. I mean, it's just a gun. It's a who has shot them, right?
Yes.
So I thought that's going to be on the list. The other thing that's on the list that would surprise you, were there car chases that stretched the bounds of physics?
Okay. So the only car chase is there a car chase? Well, there's the helicopter.
Well,
boat chase at the end.
There's the electric golf cart that they drove off a cliff.
Yeah, but that's not a car chase.
I know, so it probably wouldn't fit. But they did fire more than 100 rounds.
Clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
well, they had 2 grenades that they played pivotal roles in this.
That's right.
I would imagine that if you're going to include like that kind of a thing, I would include are there liquefying deaths or something along those lines? You know, like gruesome murders or gruesome deaths.
I thought about putting something in for like the big horror movies. You know, the serial killer horror. Like
there were
Michael
a couple
Myers.
of gruesome deaths in this movie.
Yes, yeah. Well, I was going to ask you that.
Celebratory eating.
This is not a regular thing. But what do you think was the most effective death? What was your favorite kill as far as that goes?
Well, it's got to be the guy who gets the
baseball hand
sets
grenade
off all of the fireworks.
That was the showiest one. I kind of like the guy who got kicked into the rock and killed the first kill just because of Josh Duhamel's reaction. Is he dead?
I killed him.
He's wait, no.
Oh, he is definitely
I killed him.
alive.
I killed him. I'm going to jail. And she's just like, you're not going to jail.
Where she's like, I gotta look up into the sky.
There's some brain. Is there brain there? I see brain. That was funny as it could be.
Yeah. And when he cut his hand and she just falls over.
Exactly. Those were such funny bits, man.
I thought you ran away. Never. Don't you know you're J-Lo?
Oh, that was another one.
I saw you in your panties just last night.
Yeah.
Of course I'm coming back for
exactly. Who would not? Well, several people. She's been married multiple times.
Unless you're like Josh Duhamel at that very moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me talk about your fiance.
Here was the other one that was on the list that I don't know that you're necessarily into, but was there kung fu? Extra points at
there was a little bit of kung fu.
There was
in the
kung
kitchen.
fu, yes.
In the kitchen.
Exactly. When I was watching, I was like, kung fu!
Yeah.
There's kung fu. This is, I was like, this is really hitting a few nerd movie points. I might actually say this is a nerd movie. It's stretching it.
It sounds like you're trying to justify.
No, once again, if you create a framework and you say, here are the specifics, and it's not really there, but it starts to hit a couple of them, you start to be like, maybe
you need to make your list before we watch.
I
things,
did.
Though.
No, I made the list. I made the list yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these were on the list yesterday.
All
so no, it's. I'm not making this up now as we have it. But
yes.
In fact,
that's my job.
If you give me a moment of silence, I will go get the list.
I trust you unless you really want to show the list. But I mean,
well, this is the thing.
Unless it's the questions you want to get as well.
Yes.
All right. Moment of silence. All right, we're back from our moment of silence. Andy has a new pad. Like I'm not quite sure.
A new analog
multiple analog pads, especially since they look exactly the same.
Well,
you're asking to be confused.
Well, that's what happened. I brought the wrong one down because I was writing too much. But here are the lists. Superpowers.
Okay, no superpowers in this movie.
And magic or advanced technology.
No.
Which, as we know, all sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, right? Monsters or aliens, extra points if giant.
No.
None of that. 100 rounds or more fired. Technically, yes.
I would like.
You'd have to count them.
I'd have to count them, but I mean, I think the spirit of that is gunplay, right? You want to see some gunplay,
significant gunplay,
right? It's not just like
over the top gunplay.
Yeah, it's not just like a standoff where they like the 6 shooters.
Right?
Did I shoot 6 or did I shoot 5?
It's not a Rian Johansson movie where there's only a few guns fired.
Yeah, you want some significant shots fired, and I would imagine that there's
I've got to stop.
Even if you could count them,
I gotta quit doing that Rian Johansson thing. But
even if you counted them up and there was 98, this meets the spirit of that.
Yes, thank you. Car chase that stretches the boundaries of physics.
I wouldn't give you
I don't think that's in that.
But the helicopter and the
maybe I should change
boat,
it. Yeah,
I would say that's a car chase that
I was mostly thinking of the Fast and Furious movies and potentially the Jason Bourne movies.
Okay,
because I love those car chases are fantastic.
I don't know what you're talking about in terms of the Fast and Furious movies. Those
are entirely realistic.
Logical.
Yeah, if a guy can drive off a cliff and catch a cable with his car and swing across a giant...
It went around his wheel.
I know, and went over the gorge, and then he just lands on his wheels. That's completely realistic. Kung Fu action, extra credit if the wire works physically.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that there would have to have been some wire work in this, because that girl jumps up on top of him and is like pounding on him.
That might have just been a trampoline, but it's right there. But it's right there.
Yeah, but the spirit of that is like the practical effect of it.
Right?
Does it work out?
Exactly.
I would say yes. Okay.
And here's a couple other ones. Does it take place in the future?
Okay. Well,
not here. No.
Not here, but
near future. But that doesn't count.
It's not clearly delineated as 2025 or whatever.
Well, everything takes place in the future because
everything takes place in the past.
Well, no. As I'm watching it, the future is coming at me, right?
No, the past. Because you're seeing what happened before.
Okay.
Like, it might be just a little bit, but like any event, like even this, I'm seeing you infinitesimally in the past.
Agree to disagree.
hey, Andy's brother.
You make a good.
Tell us who's right.
You make a good point, but I refuse to admit I'm wrong.
Okay, but there's no time travel.
And my last one was sword fights, but
there was some knife play.
Yeah, with a cake knife.
Cake knife.
A fantastic rusty cake knife. Thanks for the cake knife. I love it.
Which also leads me to a different most unbelievable part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly they have to introduce the knife.
Yes.
Because it's Chekhov's cake knife.
All right.
Right?
Just for the viewers at home, explain what Chekhov's...
All right, so Chekhov's, this is a...
The reference is originally Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun. And this is like a trope in film, on stage. If you introduce a gun in the first act, then that gun is going to be used by the end of the play. It's Chekhov's gun. That's the
term used for it.
And so we use it for shorthand for like any like plot like tool. They introduced a bunch of these.
Anytime we're watching a movie and a thing is very specifically shown, we are like, that's Chekhov's cake knife.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's Chekhov's
pineapple
hair extension.
Yeah, that's
we know.
Pineapple.
Well, this is the thing: is that this movie surprised us with how many things were used as weapons or other things at the end of the movie. It was like.
Yeah.
Then when the cake knives were introduced, we immediately both of us were like Chekhov's cake knives.
And it was only after that when they introduced the pineapples, we were like, "Oh, that's Chekhov's pineapple," because we were like into it. Then.
Well, we were just joking.
Chekhov's.
We were just joking at that point, but we were surprised at how effective these pineapples were.
Yeah.
We mostly made jokes about swingers because apparently that's a swinger thing. If you have an upside down pineapple on your front porch or something, it means you're a swinger.
At least according to ghosts.
Yeah. No, I heard that on the radio actually before they even had it on there. But
all right, then.
But then when they had,
I'm not gonna ask too many questions about that.
But what we did miss was Chekhov's hair extensions. There's a bit where Josh Duhamel's character's mother insists that J-Lo wears this hair extension bun thing. And she hates it because it looks weird and it's weighty.
Heavy and it's
so
uncomfortable.
she takes it off and she insists that Josh Duhamel put it in his pocket, and then later
because it's expensive. And
she's going to use it for something else at some point. But later when he's accidentally attached to a glide parachute, he uses Lenny Kravitz. Yes, with Lenny Kravitz, he uses the hair extensions to slide down the line to save himself, and I was like, we completely missed Chekhov's hair extensions.
Chekhov's hair extensions. So, but the way they introduced the knife was she brought the gift and said, "Here, I'm giving you this janky, rusty ass thing that's supposed to be good luck."
There was a pie knife and a cake knife, right?
Right, and she says, "This is your something borrowed." Right? Very clearly, she's saying, this is your something borrowed. Later on, she's wearing the woman's wedding dress. If that's not the something borrowed, then I don't understand.
Here's the thing.
Term borrowed.
That was Jennifer Coolidge's mistake because
back in the day of Stifler's mom, Jennifer Coolidge would have filled out that dress really nicely. By the way.
Here's the thing: it's not borrowed. She's giving it to you as a gift, a wedding gift. So you're not borrowing it. Right. It's a gift. So she should.
She wanted Chekhov's knife back.
No, well, that would have been the implication if it was really something borrowed, but clearly it wasn't. Clearly it was being given as a gift because she said, everybody in our family has had this.
It's good luck.
And it's meant like lasting marriages, except for that guy who got killed in a forklift accident.
Got decapitated by a forklift.
Exactly. So, you gave me a rusty cake knife. Thank you.
The unlucky cake knife. But it was those little jokes that you catch.
Now she said, "Your mom gave me a cursed set of cake knives."
Yeah.
They stuffed a lot of great lines in here, man.
The idea of being decapitated by a forklift, just like that raises so many weird.
We won't even get into the weird deaths that we've heard of. So there's in the modern age, there are a lot of really terrible ways to die. So I'm staying away from all of them. I'm not driving forklifts.
Yeah.
I'm not putting fences in with augers. No.
You definitely shouldn't.
I'm staying away from all that shit.
You absolutely should not.
Yeah. That's why I like a shovel. A nice shovel. Hard to die. Hard to die from a shovel.
Get one of those things.
A post hole digger. Yeah. Hard to get killed by a post hole digger. Unless somebody's really swinging it.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what other questions?
There should have been more post hole diggers in this movie, I think. Yeah. Well, once again...
You want to know another unbelievable
Well, we still have to vote. It doesn't qualify as a nerd movie.
Because if you had just come up with this afterwards, it would have smacked of like, yeah, we're just trying to find a way to make this a nerd movie.
Well, no, this is the thing. My first thought was I would not consider a rom-com a nerd movie. It just doesn't fit the criteria.
But there's not a lot of like wire work. There's not a lot of
as we were watching this movie, I was like, "Holy crap! Gunplay, kung fu!" I was just like, "This actually kind of it's getting in there."
It's.
Oh, I forgot. Is Nick Cage in it?
No.
Sadly, no Nick Cage.
No. This is.
You know what? If they had replaced Jennifer Coolidge's husband with Nick Cage. Holy crap! Solid nerd cred.
He could not have been Cheech Marin. Maybe you could have done Cheech Marin for Nick Cage.
You could have transferred Nick Cage. No. I think Jennifer Coolidge and Nick Cage.
No, like he was too mousy. You couldn't buy the fact that they would be a happy-go-lucky couple that have never had a fight.
If it was Nick Cage, maybe
you've been like that. That whole thing is too
that's
combustible.
That's toxic right there. Right. That's a toxic relationship.
So what I would do is I would give this a nerd movie adjacent.
It is. I think that's wise.
Yes.
Nerd movie adjacent.
It's close.
Most rom-coms would not get nerd cred.
It's like rubbing right up against nerd movie.
Exactly. Well, the fact that I used the term Die Hard in the 60-second summary, I mean, there, you got to say, there's something going on here.
Absolutely.
The other, the thing I had was that I thought we should start doing.
I forgot. I was telling you. I was about to say.
Ooh, there you go.
I was about to say the other most unbelievable thing in this movie. At the end, where they're pretending to put on the wedding from the pool, and all of a sudden everybody starts singing the song. There is zero chance that everybody at that wedding knew the words to that particular song.
I thought so too. I'm like, I don't know the words of the song.
Yeah, it was not from
South Pacific. They made lots of South Pacific jokes. Yeah, it was a pop song.
It was a pop song. Yeah. There was 30 people there. All of them knew every word of that.
Yeah,
not
they needed to have filmed a couple of people just mouthing it like just trying to look like normal and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a family thing. Maybe all the families.
We would come with you, but we don't want to.
That was great. That was great. They were the owners of the resort that they were at. When they went to save everybody, they were like yelled behind him, "We would come with you, but we don't want to." I thought at the end of our conversations we would rate it on rewatchability.
But I wouldn't put this like very high on a rewatchability. I don't tend to rewatch a lot of rom-coms.
Yep.
They crank these things out so quickly that you can always find new rom-coms. And part of it is like the surprise of it. It's like a good mystery.
Right.
Like, you want to see how things work out at the end.
Well, you know what? You bring up a good point. I would put this on a not high on the rewatchability scale, but solidly on the. It's a rewatchable movie.
It's funny,
but I realize
I would be watching this for like the hidden jokes that I missed. How many rom-coms do you rewatch?
Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist and 50 First Dates.
So there's two of them.
Yeah.
But I would rewatch 50 First Dates. I would rewatch The Wedding Singer. I would rewatch a bunch of like When Harry Met Sally. I have rewatched those movies. Mm-hmm. This isn't in that pantheon, though.
Right?
Like it's not in like like I'm putting this on the normal the rewatchability.
If I have a night where my wife is off to her book club or her other things, and I have a night to myself.
You'll pick off something on the
I'll rewatch Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch Dredd. I mean, Dredd and Resident Evil top the list. Like those are the ones that I always like go back and put those up and think, should I watch it again?
It does seem like something you would do.
It does, but whoever would watch this again is a genius. Would be a genius. That does sound like something I would do. Nah, but maybe. So
know. I mean, it is a little bit unfair because I don't do a huge amount of rewatching. Yes. I very rarely have a night to myself where I'm just like, let me like watch whatever. That time's made up for porn.
That's what porn is for, man. No, I imagine if you have free time, you're going to watch something new.
By the way,
that's not true. I know.
Yeah, you can find porn anytime.
I know. There's plenty of time to find some porn. Well,
Lord. All right. What other kinds of
there weren't really a lot of notes. I'm trying to rewrite this, and I probably should sit down with you and talk about it a little bit. There were like heroes and villains, but mostly that was like scene stealers. We always said Jennifer Coolidge was a huge scene stealer, but like biggest villain was essentially between Lenny Kravitz and Darcy
Carden. Yeah.
And I kind of agree. I feel like you and I picked it out pretty early.
Yeah.
That it was Lenny Kravitz.
As soon as Lenny Kravitz shows up, we're like, oh, he's a bad guy. And then Darcy, like,
well, no. As soon as the pirates showed up, we were like, okay, he's in on this shit.
Yeah.
You know, he's a little too sexy, a little too smarmy. But as things were kind of unfolding, I was just like.
She's in on it, right?
Yeah, the girlfriend is a little too young and
namaste.
Yeah, too little yoga style for Cheech Marin. So we were like not buying it, as much money as he has.
Yeah. And the fact that the father the Josh Duhamel's father doesn't come and is like, hey, listen. I got video evidence that your ex-fiance is smacking down.
He had sex with Aunt Marion.
So I guess
he's just like, that's just how it works, man. Yeah, I'm not going to judge.
Don't yuck someone else's yum.
That's right.
That makes sense.
I was macking on Aunt Marion. I'm not going to like give you a hard time for doing whatever you're doing.
In fact, I'm still thinking about it right now.
Exactly. So, yeah. Once again, I was almost beer faking, but.
Yeah, I mean, this has a lot going for it. If you're asking me, would I recommend people watch this?
Yeah,
absolutely. This is a ton of fun. It is a good way to spend 2 hours of your time. Get a couple of beers and just like hang out and like.
And it's good. It's good for the whole family. Your wife is cracking up at a lot.
My wife is cracking up. Oftentimes between like the food part, you're angry because you're hungry. Eat something.
Oh yeah, when they're in the kitchen.
Yeah. So it is absolutely everything you would want from a rom-com. It's gonna hit all the high notes.
That's right. It was Rami. It was Kami.
And it was inverted a little bit. It was like, we're going to start this
with the fight.
With the fight.
Right,
it's going to be
with the almost breakup, and then things will happen to kind of get it all together again.
Yeah, This is taking the third act of a normal rom-com and extending it out over the entirety of the movie.
I agree. Your wife was like, "What?" When she's being dragged by her train and the car is going off the cliff, she's like, "It's moving slow. Why don't you just jump into it?" I'm like, I don't know that would have been my first thought either.
That wouldn't have been my first thought. Like,
because once again,
you see your fiance dragged. You want to grab onto her and pull.
Right. Plus the fact that if you run and jump in the car, there's a chance you can't stop it, and then you're the one going off the cliff, like face first. I don't know that I want to do that. I mean, I can always let go of my wife.
There might be a chance that she survives the fall.
Exactly. Once again, you just gotta hope that never happens. Once again, there's certainly some contrived points,
but yeah, I mean, that's every rom-com. There's
I can always let go of my wife. Fantastic.
It's this episode is either the Chekhov's Everywhere episode or I could always let go of my wife episode.
Well, that was the thing. It was a ton of fun. Lots of gunplay.
You get some goofiness around,
and I can go back and learn that Balinese saying that means "go fuck your grandfather."
The fact that he learned it after one, that's pretty unbelievable. Like, yeah.
No. After he said it, because he was like, "What is?"
Yeah, it was said once,
right,
to him or towards him.
Maybe he's got a skill for languages. Don't be looking down on people because they got skill for languages, man. I don't have it. I know you're good at Italian and stuff, but
Forchetta. Forchetta. He's a minor league pitcher. He's not.
That doesn't mean you got an ear for language, man. Maybe he played in Japan for a little while.
I come with you, but I don't want
to. We come with you, but we don't want to.
All right, so are we wrapping this up with the mic scale? Are we putting this on the mic scale?
Yeah, we can do the mic scale. Professional podcasting. That's real beer action right there, man.
So here we go. The mic scale. High end, let's go low end.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Could have been better.
Could have been better.
It was all right.
Yep, it was all right.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
That was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun.
I would watch that again.
Yeah.
Then off the charts is It's a Dan Brown.
It's a Dan Brown.
Right. I would put this at... This was fun.
Yeah. It's easily an It Was Fun. Yeah. I would give it an It Was Fun too.
Yeah, this is I'm not sure it goes to... I would watch it again, but it's a borderline.
It's above
average.
It's a borderline. I would watch it again. Yes, because I don't see any reason not to watch.
Would
it
your
again.
wife want to watch this? Would you watch it?
I think
if my
she would
wife
like
had
it.
not watched this and she'd said, "Hey, there's this," I would have totally watched this again. With her.
Easily.
That's often. Just between you and me. That's often when I do rewatch things.
Yeah.
It's because I watched it and my wife's
You got up early.
"Hey, I heard this thing, yeah."
You got up early and watched it, and she's like, "Hey, what about this afterlife of the party?" And you're like,
"Sure,
oh,
God, hey,
that sounds great. Never heard of it, but it does sound good. It does sound like something I would watch."
Yeah, but would I?
Would I watch it? Nah. Oh, but maybe.
Yeah.
But since you
whoever would watch this would be a genius.
but since you want to watch it, I'm more than happy to watch it for you because I love you.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I would watch this again if she had not watched it and came and said, "I want to watch this." I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Let me go get a couple of beers and just hang out." Yeah, sure.
There you go. The beers are always a good selling point, really.
Yeah.
My wife makes me watch stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, let me get some wine."
Yeah, but this is not the kind of thing where multiple years. This is not a go-to for Lovebruary.
Like every February, we're watching Shotgun Wedding, right?
Yeah, I don't imagine that. I can't imagine that. I
do feel kind of like watching 50 First Dates again, though. That's a great flick.
That's a great flick. Yeah, it's absolutely you get anyway. Doesn't matter.
He makes a little waffle door, and she's like, "Is it your normal practice to touch other people's food?"
They have that many. How many newspapers do you get? There's a lot of newspapers that they had to read.
I know they probably have a contract with a printing company to keep printing.
Wasn't it somebody in the back ironing an old newspaper?
It might have been. I might have missed that bit. Yeah. Once again, there's always something new to watch in an Adam Sandberg movie.
Yeah.
An Andy Sandberg, Adam Sandberg, Sandler movie. You know.
Well, you know what I'm going to say.
What?
Never stop, never stop.
Never stop it, man. Doink, dead, doink. That's all I got to say.
Well, anything else you want to say about Shotgun Wedding?
No.
I think this is a nice way to start Lovebruary.
No. I'm feeling love in Lovebruary.
Yeah. We're gonna. This is not like Monstober where we're gonna watch
a movie every week. No.
But in terms of a theme, I think this really works out because we can build a Lovebruary every year.
Well, we'll see how creative we have to get. Because, once again, I'm thinking listicles. Media Club's not a problem. Deep Dive's not a problem. But listicles, and every year...
Top 11 male actors, top 11 female actors, top 11 movies, top 11, foreign locales.
No. Locales, maybe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got me.
You got, that's 4 years of Lovebruary that you got.
I'm down.
I'm knocking it out of the park.
I'm glad
it's like you threw up a grenade, and I just smacked it at a guy right next to all the fireworks.
Nicely done.
By the way, that guy was a pitch hitter, and he barely made it out of the outfield in that particular
Well, he was
instance.
aiming for that spot, man. He hit the spot. He nailed it. That's skill, man.
I guess.
He could have overshot that and put it in the water, but no. He was like, I don't want to put all my power into this. I just need this to get into the outfield is all I need.
What part of him not making it out of the minors had you not heard in this?
Well,
this guy didn't have power.
He sabotaged himself.
He
had skills, man. He only failed because he sabotages himself when he starts to doubt himself. So.
Another thing that's the most unbelievable thing.
Poor son of a bitch. Poor son of a bitch, really.
You want to know another thing that's the most unbelievable part of this?
What's that?
That you take Timothy Olyphant, who is almost 50, and say he is in the minor leagues at 40.
Or Josh Duhamel.
Yes. Or, either of those guys.
I'm like, where are we going with this?
No, you take Josh Duhamel and say he's still in the minor leagues at nearly 40 in this movie.
No. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all
you
time.
You could at least colored his hair.
One of my favorite flicks of all time is Bull Durham.
I guarantee that in that movie, Kevin Costner is probably passed off as mid-30s as the old man.
No, he's probably like pushing 40, probably. He's probably right around 40, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
He's about to break the record for dingers.
All right, well, I think it is time for us to kind of...
Damn, she just jumps right in there, man.
Right in there.
How rude.
Yeah, well, you know what?
She's right.
Yeah, she is right. We do have to wrap this up.
Rude, but not wrong.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Shit wired, man.
Oh, and once again, I've got this shit wired. So
you do got this shit wired, man. My burps taste like peanut butter.
Oh,
yeah, peanut butter.
Well, that's much more pleasant than what burps normally taste like.
Tacos.
Which is like beef and cheese.
like Santa Claus, in other words.
Exactly.
All right, anyway, the dame has spoken, so it is time for us to wrap it up. As always, I have been Patrick.
And I have been Andy.
And that is our doink to doink.
Doink to doink.
You guys are weird.